person, they felt that that what they were doing was important and necessary, and hope that the true story makes it through to the viewer and the reader of the American media, because the good news doesn't always make it through, and they're pretty proud of the work they're doing, and they're in many different areas. Some of them are out in the communities creating relationships with local community members, while others are support, and so they might do computer work in the green zone. One of the things I didn't mention about the green zone and the embassy, I asked specifically the question, what is the plan with the green zone? The green zone is a safe area, a safe haven. It's about 6 square miles, and half are Iraqi residents and half are then groups like Americans, the British, and any of the other forces that have people within Iraq and are involved in the effort. And the answer to the question was they specifically and purposely built the embassy with the idea in mind that someday they'll be able to open the doors and people will have an opportunity to go and apply for the visas to come to America. And that couldn't be done if it was sitting inside a 6 square mile protected area by the green zone. So they very definitely have built the embassy with the idea in mind that there will not be permanent basing and there will not be a permanent green zone, and ultimately life will get back to as normal as it possibly can in Iraq. The second question, or the second part of that question was, did I see anything that would change my opinion? And again, it's one of those that General Petraeus had a plan, and as a result of following that plan, you sensed that people over there got the direction, they captured the vision, they knew what their mission was, and ultimately were able to see that they're beginning to talk about a reduction of troops. Isn't that what was the entire goal or the attempt? And so why change something that's working? And it was working when I was over. I saw the effects or the benefits of the change between 2005 and now as a result of the leadership of Petraeus and the direction of the surge.
Sir, this is Jennifer McKee with Lee Newspapers. Given the positive change that you witnessed after the surge, are you at all concerned that reducing troop levels will bring back some of the violence and chaos that was there before the surge?
No, and when you listen to and see the visual charts of where the problems are now, Mosul is still a problem area. It shows up on the map as probably the last area. It was explained to us, and I don't think it was any surprise, that the hot spots originally in the trip that I went were along the Euphrates and the Tigris. Well, it's anywhere where you've got agricultural production, because that's where people are living, because that's where the food is. And so those that wanted to disrupt were trying to disrupt the food. I didn't get as good a briefing on oil as I had wanted, because I had many questions about who is protecting the pipelines to see that they're not disruptive once they're rebuilt, who's protecting the workers within the refinery. That wasn't the purpose of this trip, and so when they brought people in for us to meet, it was more towards the USAID, more towards the reconstruction efforts and the embassy. And so I'm going to still ask the questions about oil and gas production within the country, but I think we very clearly saw that the surge in the schedule that Petraeus had identified did in fact work, and it is his recommendation now to begin taking troops out of Iraq. And that does not minimize the problems that still exist with the safe havens in places like Pakistan, some of the problems that we're starting to see crop up in Iran. Terrorists aren't dumb. They're going to go to the areas of least resistance, and if they sense that we're serious about something like controlling the violence in Iraq, I can't answer the question that they haven't just moved on. We still are seeing signs of cash collections of weaponry that have made their way from Iran into Iraq. But if you look at the numbers of guns and bombs and such that they've found and collected, it has dropped off precipitously. Not because they're not finding them, it's because for a short period of time there during the surge, the locals said, hey, this is real, the Americans are serious, and as a result, they were turning people in that were hiding weaponry.
Congressman, this is David Lee with KGVO.
Yes, sir.
My question for you, and you may not have had the opportunity to actually to find this out, and if you didn't, I'm sorry. I'm just wondering, did you have a chance to actually see some of the Iraqi trained soldiers doing patrols and being out in the streets? Because that was a big issue during the last visit. Is they were just starting to get the first set of trainees out.
Yes. We did get to see them in action. We also got to see the numbers, the statistics. I apologize. I don't have that note in front of me. If I were to drag a number out of memory, it was somewhere around, well, I shouldn't, because I was going to say 160 different groups where their troops are in control, but I can't say in relation to how many. So when I say 160, it doesn't mean anything. It's 160 out of 200 or 250. I don't know. But we were seeing there's a number of different categories of Iraqis, military being one of them, but more importantly, the police force. They want policemen. They don't want to be walking up and down the streets with guns either in uniform with a show of force, because people just aren't going to accept that kind of a police state for a long extended period of time. They don't feel safe if it's just a soldier carrying a gun. But if it's a local police officer that has a relationship with the community, and those are the numbers that they're telling, you're seeing quite a number of new people wanting to sign up to be police officers within their communities. They're not afraid like they used to be, because quite a number of police officers were killed in the line of duty just for having signed up and walking the streets. And so that's where we really saw the number. But yes, we saw troops from Iraq manning various checkpoints, both in and out of the green zone at the airport. And another thing that really kind of struck me was as we were flying into Baghdad. Now, we fly into the military airport, but it's right next to the international airport. The international airport of Baghdad is open again. There are not a lot of flights in and out, but they're big jets. There were 6 sitting at gates, and we were told that all 6 of those would be making runs in and out of Baghdad that day. So, that was something that the last time I was there, I noticed that here's this huge Baghdad International Airport and no airplanes. They're back.